Hey, what is up, everybody? This is Stevie Breach coming to you. It is so hot outside, I got flames on my hat. That's right, Johnsonville Brats coming through with a brand new hat today. Can't go wrong, but the Johnsonville Brat, especially on a big old holiday like Memorial Day today. Honestly, when I was flipping through the wrestling news, this was a story that I read, I believe, last night that sort of stuck with me, that I'm still sort of thinking about today. Enough to come out here on my lunch and make a video. It's a hot one out here in Sacramento, California. Somewhere around 100, but having to come out here and sit in the car to make the video. I'm sure that the car sitting in the sun all day, with the doors and the windows closed, probably way over 100 in here right now, but it's a scorcher. But the wrestling news that came through on the wire yesterday was basically talking about the fact that Undertaker is upset with Vince McMahon right now, basically to the point where Undertaker is not returning Vince McMahon's calls. I honestly look at this as one of those stories that I don't even know where the story is being sourced from, but I feel like it's just a story that's coming up out of the middle of nowhere that really makes no sense to see what is going on. Basically, the story is saying that Undertaker was upset that Vince McMahon came to him around WrestleMania and basically asked Undertaker to lose at WrestleMania 32 to Shane McMahon. This is, I guess, sort of pointing in the direction of this is why Shane lost the match at WrestleMania but was still put in charge of Monday Night Raw on the night after WrestleMania the next night. Sort of one of those questions that's probably going to be lingering around wrestling for a long time, and maybe this is some sort of a dirt sheet or some sort of somebody trying to come up with a reason that there is an answer to this question that I'm sure people are going to be asking for years and years. Why did Shane lose? If definitely WrestleMania was sort of built all around Shane McMahon, and then immediately coming out of WrestleMania, all of the limelight was put right back on Shane to try and put a light on Monday Night Raw for the next couple of weeks, only to be put into the storyline where it doesn't really look like it's going anywhere for Shane McMahon. Stephanie, the week before Extreme Rules, with the whole Divas championship contract signing, really took the step forward as being the leader of the McMahons and the leader of Monday Night Raw, sort of putting down her brother and sort of making herself look like the big time baby face in the storyline when she's been playing a heel for so long. But I don't know. Basically, if you want to think that there's truth to this story, you can look and see, the whole rigmarole, which was the European tour for WWE. It was first announced that Undertaker was going to be going on the European tour, and he was going to be wrestling on 2 dates over there. Then it ended up being that he was going to wrestle on more dates, and then at the end of the day, they had to send Triple H over there to wrestle on the dates that Undertaker was supposed to be at, because Undertaker wasn't on any of the dates. Really confusing time in WWE. Nobody really knew the story. Everybody knew that Undertaker was sort of, passing around at the WrestleMania after party, telling people that that was it. That was his last go round. He wasn't going to wrestle another match. But then there came rumors that we were going to see Undertaker wrestle at SummerSlam, and SummerSlam is coming up upon us pretty fast, and I'm thinking that's the only reason that Vince McMahon would be calling Undertaker. Last year we saw Undertaker bump up his schedule. He came back at Battleground, which I believe was in July. Then he wrestled at SummerSlam, and then he wrestled at Hell in the Cell. And then he even wrestled at Survivor Series in that tag match that nobody will ever remember. Undertaker and Kane versus the Wyatts, when it was supposed to be 2-on-2, ended up being 2-on-4. And I think they won, but I think that we never ever really saw them ever again after that. I got no clue, man. That was when Bray Wyatt ate Undertaker and Kane's soul, and they still came back and kicked their ass. Undertaker and Kane's powers were supposed to be dissolved into Bray Wyatt, and Bray couldn't even get a match at WrestleMania with the powers of Undertaker and Kane. But I don't know, man. Undertaker, I think he's a grizzled old vet. He's been in the game for years and years. You got to think of that 1990 debut for WWF, wrestling at the Survivor Series. You got to think that before then he was wrestling for WCW. Wasn't it the Skyscrapers? Skywalkers? Mean Mark Calloway, whatever it was. But man, oh man, it's I don't know, man. I think Taker's done. I would be really surprised if we see Undertaker at WrestleMania 33 in a wrestling match. Maybe you see him in some sort of a segment like Stone Cold Steve Austin was at WrestleMania 21. It was him and Piper and Carlito. But I really don't think that we're going to see Undertaker wrestle a match again. So one way or another, it doesn't really matter if he's mad at Vince. The Undertaker contract that they have basically is that he's really only has to wrestle one match a year, and that's WrestleMania. Taker extended that last year, wrestling more dates. Of course, he got paid more money, and it is what it is. I don't really think that Undertaker is going to do what Andre the Giant did, where basically he left WWF, and then Andre, of course, would go wrestle matches in Mexico. He would wrestle matches in Japan. He even showed up on WCW, like walking in on a show. Basically he was just going anywhere there was money being thrown at him. Undertaker's not going to show up for Global Force. Undertaker's not going to go to TNA. I think that Vince has Taker for as long as he wants to, I don't know, man. If Undertaker was ever going to be mad that Vince asked him to lose at WrestleMania, it would have been WrestleMania 30, and it seemed like that was just water under the bridge, no problem. Undertaker understood Brock Lesnar, which was the future of the company at that time. Of course, it was big to help the network out, and everything else that goes along with it. So we'll see you guys down the road, and we'll get down to the source of this juicy wrestling news someday, I guess.